What's up, everybody? Well, we're in February, well into February. I'm going to post this later, but I have a quick opportunity to make a video that I wasn't expecting. And I just want to say that, just more of the same about, you could probably I was barely audible in the other video because I practically have to whisper, and I don't like that one bit, I don't like it. And, I just wanted to quickly say in this video, when people cannot justify something, they deny it. It's just like that with everything. I mean, how stupid do they honestly think I am? That all they have to do is say that something didn't happen, and I'm going to say, okay, well, I guess it didn't happen. Okay, well, I guess, I'm just so sick of talking about, the same subjects. But it's true. It's like they've just always been of the mindset, the people behind, TV shows or children's content. It's like they think that, they just put things in there. And then if something becomes controversial, they think they can always just edit it out or, make it like it never happened. Like the thing about, they think that they just deny that it happened or, redo it and remove something. Kind of like the, there was this topless, I don't know if it was a person or a picture of a person in The Rescuers, Rescuers 1, as I call it, which, is significant to me because, well, obviously I've always liked The Rescuers, and the thought of Cody and Penny being made into a 1/6 scale doll. But it's significant also because of where it takes place. And all I can tell you about what state I'm in is that the only two states that I know really well would be represented with two football helmets. One of them would be silver with a blue star or vice versa. That's Texas. And the other football helmet would be black with a gold fleur-de-lis or vice versa. So those are the two states that I know very well or have lived in or, have any experience with. Like, I've never left the U.S., I've never been up north, you know what I'm saying, just never really been outside of those two states for the most part. If I did, it was very brief, maybe going through a few others on the way, from one to another. So, I really only know two states, the fleur-de-lis and the star represent them. And so, yeah, you can imagine what states they are. And so one of the Rescuers movies is supposed to deal with the state that I'm in. And it's the one with the girl. And the other Rescuers was, of course, the Rescuers Down Under. And I've just always wished that Cody and Penny, I did my best with a kidcore version. But Cody and Penny could have been made into a 1/6 scale doll, that would be much taller than the Kelly and Tommy dolls, little toddlers, but yet much shorter than a teenager, like a kidcore doll, like about 7.5 to 8 inches. And I just feel like that size was just not common enough in the doll world. And like I said, I made my own with kidcore, but I much rather have a Cody, with hair that's plastic like that. I don't know. Perhaps if they made one, it would be hundreds of dollars, so it's better that they don't. So, they used to have a topless woman at some point in that Rescuer movie. It's supposed to be about people in this area. Well, actually, she gets adopted by people up north so that she can have snow. I hate the way they frame snow as something that you just have to have at Christmas. That's what I mean by that line, a popcorn can brings feelings of despair. Because we don't have, you see, the problem with our weather is while we do have some very cold, freezing weathers, some cold, freezing winter days, and so the stereotype that we don't have any cold weather at all is kind of overdoing it. You know what I'm saying? When they make it like we can wear shorts throughout the winter. Well, that's not exactly true. I mean, yeah, there are some Christmases that can be warmer than some Easters, meaning the weather just does whatever it wants, whenever it wants. But we do have some very cold weather. Here's the problem, why we don't normally have snow, either here or where I live in Texas. because when it does get cold enough that you could have snow, like below 32, that tends to be our driest weather. So while we do have hard freezes, they usually, the most freezing, the coldest part tends to be once the rain or precipitation has already ended. So it'll rain when it's still like 40 degrees and too warm to snow. So just be cold rain. But then once that's over, we get the windy, dry, cold front. The cold, dry air comes in behind it. So that our coldest nights, the hard freezes, are followed by days where the temperature climbs all the way up to a beautiful, sunny, like 40 or 50 degrees. You know what I'm saying? It's like what they would consider a cool springtime day up north. So yeah, that's our weather in a nutshell. We do have cold weather, it's just not usually snowy, and so on the rare occasion that it does snow, guess what? Those are the rare hard freezes that you hear about on the news, where it got down to a record-breaking, 10 degrees or 5 degrees. Has to get down in the teens during the cold, dry part in order for us to have snow, which is why it's rare. And you see up north, that's just more common, and they're more prepared for it. So anyway, enough about the weather. I need to go out and film the moon. But yeah, when they can't justify something, as I've stated before, they deny it. It's infuriating how they think that a simple denial, oh, that didn't happen, is enough. Obviously it's enough to have my post deleted. It's enough to, they think that they can just go back and they can always just take something out. If they put something controversial, they can just always take it out. Because they could no longer justify, the actions of the Cedric guy and all the things he had done. Well, guess what? They thought that they could just remove him from the series, practically. They all but removed him. He was never in the intro song. Almost like he was intended from the beginning to be something fetishy or, inappropriate for children. And, so they think they can just take something or someone out. If it becomes controversial, just cut it out. That's what Dan Schneider says. I mean, and that just erases the fact that it was ever there to begin with. You know what I'm saying? They think they can just remove it and that it's all one and the same, like it never happened. But it isn't. I'm always going to remember. I'm never going to recommend pretty much anything for children to someone's kid. I'm never going to say, yeah, I mean, like, you can imagine how often that happens. Somebody just comes to me and says, what should my kid watch on TV? I mean, really. You think I have any contact at all with children or anyone, has children? So my point is, I'm never going to recommend it. And whenever I get the opportunity, I'm going to speak out against it. I'm going to tell people the truth, about these shows. And, as I've stated before, I don't care what it does, as far as my fandoms, I'm not gonna, go along with something to be a part of a fandom because I don't care. I don't want to do Reddit. I don't want to do Quora. I don't want to do any of those sites. I mean, the only reason I ever stayed with Yahoo Answers was, of course, the points, and I don't care who knows it. Me being at level 7 on Yahoo Answers was the only thing that gave me a continued vested interest in the site for many years until it discontinued. That's the only reason I even logged into my email account so that it wouldn't be deleted for inactivity, was because I was a level 7 participant. So even after I stopped really using my account or participating in the site, the fact, it was like a trophy in my mind. It was, it wasn't, it was still like a badge of honor that I had reached level 7, long after I lost interest in the site. So, for me to get involved in Reddit or Quora or any other site, it's just a time waster, and I don't need any more time wasters at this age. As I stated before, my time is my most valuable resource. And every time I hear about a celebrity that dies, it's a reminder of just how finite it is. How I'm not going to be here forever. And, I don't have just hours of time to waste on Reddit. I don't care about Reddit. They can ban me, and I do not give a flying for a truck. I do not care, what they do. I do not care. I don't care what anyone thinks of me on that site. And now that they've deleted my contributions across various sites, it's like, what? And why would I keep coming? So, guess I'll go ahead and post this video. When they can't justify something, they deny it.